Peace. Eh, Happy now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Right now, I'm doing this video more so to raise the awareness of how melanated people are targeted in, in entertainment, Hollywood, politics, just on all levels, but more so speaking to that stage of being like an entertainer or a sports person, just anybody who's famous and popular. Because right now, they got the Bill Cosby situation going on where that brethren just got sentenced, and it's just time to raise awareness. Because I'm not here to say, whether Bill Cosby did it or not, none of that. Now, I will say, as I'm speaking on that, though, go check out the Brethren Young Pharaoh video that he did recently on Bill Cosby. Go look at his latest videos. It'll pop up when he did on Bill Cosby recently. And, within the video, matter of fact, and kudos to Young Pharaoh for just diving deep in that situation with the facts of talking about how within this video, and again, I'm not going into it because again, I'm not fact checking or none of that ain't my aim in this video, but to a certain extent, because of what I'm talking about, I should share some of the evidence that may not be incriminating. But it was basically like the situation of the main woman who was corralling the whole situation against Bill Cosby. Like, she had some allegations she had tried to come up with in the past that when the courts looked at it and stuff like that, it was it didn't have a lot of solidity to it. Also, they came across the vibe, or even her herself, like she had a certain how can I say, she was doing things in the essence of where it just threw off, where it didn't allow for them, like, all right, Bill Cosby did it, and then also the fact that, if she was a rape victim, why was she still calling Bill Cosby after the fact? Blase blah. This is all, again, go check out his video for the the cleanup in that area. But I'm just speaking more so, matter of fact, this video to a certain extent is almost the same sentiments as Stop Letting the Prophets Hang. Where, right as, a melanated person is, on the rise in this world, what I'm saying, their influence is growing on an extremely high level, things of that nature. It's always this ultimatum point or this little checkpoint that they reach. Whereas, like, in order to continuously get money like this, you got to comply with the guidelines of the oppressor. And we see it time and time again, with, you got Colin Kaepernick right now being persecuted as if he, was in the same shoes as, and I didn't even say that, but he's being persecuted as if he was dealing with a serious allegation as something like rape, what I'm saying? But he's, getting the business for kneeling down and standing up for his rights. Down to the whole NFL blackballing them. And again, this raising awareness, because, how ignorant are we? I even say are we as a people, but to a point of where this behavior is allowed. The reason why this behavior is allowed, why they're able to fire somebody, obviously because they're being racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, reason why they're able to do that and justify it, because again, we still allow all these things to go on without speaking on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though they're doing that to Kaepernick, you still gonna love and support the NFL regardless. And I'm not here to get into that either. But just speaking on it, you got Tiger Woods get close to passing who it was, Phil Mickelson or whoever was at the top of golf. you know, when he was getting ready to pass their records and how many masters they won at a young age, all of a sudden he get into this little situation with his wife, and you know, all of a sudden Tiger Woods crazy. Are you going through these things? You know what I'm saying? He going through something. You know, Magic Johnson, you know, at the height of his career, growing in influence, you know, popularity. Like, all right, you gotta come out and say you got AIDS. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe, you know, and it's too. It's with some of them is doing something to cross to that next threshold, and some of them is like they reach that point and they like, no, I ain't doing no extra shit, you know, so let me just drop out of y'all bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But like Kobe with his little Colorado situation, you know, him getting, you know, cheating on his wife in Colorado, like, you know, he had to publicly shame himself in order to, you know, get you know, get those riches or get those accolades. You know, Michael Jordan, same thing. You know, it's like where his father, you know, got killed. You know, in between his championships. And also, which I'm getting back. I'm gonna go back into Bill Cosby, but just while I'm thinking about it, you know, Bill Cosby's son Ennis getting killed. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, and Dick Gregory spoke about that. Like, well, here it is, Bill Cosby's son had a car that could fix its own flat, you know, and reboot itself. But yet he still needed somebody on the highway to help him, you know, fix a flat. You know what I'm saying? And with that, you know, Dick Gregory made a fire joke. Matter of fact, rest in power, Dick Gregory, Ashe. He made a funny point of like, you know, because Ennis, Bill Cosby's son, was said to be robbed on the highway. And Dick Gregory was like, you know, like, when the last time you heard somebody trying to rob somebody on the highway? Like, he's like, that ended in the days of stagecoaches. And two, how more difficult are you making it to try to rob somebody on the highway? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's way more easy to wait in the corner somewhere, or, you know, it's all other types of easier opportunities to rob somebody than to do it, you know, stagecoach style, like Dick Gregory was kind of about. But, you know, you just see the evidence. And two, to the level of how this universe works, you know, everything is synchronized. There are no coincidences. Oh, well, maybe that's just a coincidence that Kobe got into this right when that happened. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Magic said he had AIDS when this happened. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Tiger did it. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Michael Jackson died after. Maybe it's just a coincidence that after, matter of fact, speaking of Dick Gregory, after Prince talked about Dick Gregory's State of the Black Union speech and talk about chemtrails and all that, extremely healthy Prince all of a sudden dies because of some drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no coincidence. You know what I'm saying? The most uncoincidental one of them all, you know, getting shot on the Las Vegas Strip without one eyewitness. Not a one. You know, rest in power, Tupac. And as I'm doing this video, it's also to not be, because I mean, as I'm bringing up this awareness, you know, like, it's about fearlessness and courageous. Like, you know, I have nothing to fear. Like, I am everything. I don't have anything to fear, but in essence, fear itself. You know, so you know, being upfront about this information, like, you know, because another thing too, I know I ain't going nowhere. But you got the Michael Jackson situation, you know, he started talking about they don't, which he been speaking on, like, you know, the government and just, and in essence, not just speaking out on things, but bringing us together, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, with that, like, oh, he touching on kids, you know what I'm saying? And then where it really gets messed up is they brain, you know, with the media, everybody brainwashed to just run with the story that the media take, because that's another situation of why they pushing it so much. Bill Cosby is a rapist. Bill Cosby is, they finally sentenced Bill Cosby, this and that. And again, they're trying to program your subconscious, you know what I'm saying, to pay attention to, this Bill Cosby. Matter of fact, while, you got this situation with somebody that Donald Trump trying to get into his cabinet or something like that, well, they got some allegations and stuff like that. And I mean, not to speak of, like, you got your Bill O'Reilly, Harvey Weinstein, all these different situations that, that in essence, these brethren got proved. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger got into some stuff, with a woman. He back playing football, but here it is, matter of fact, Michael Vick, another one, on the rise as a melanated quarterback, in which they done this once before. They blackballed Warren Moon. You know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with the old quarterback Warren Moon, he was one of the coldest quarterbacks in that time. But they wouldn't let him, like they was trying to turn him into wide receiver, this and that. Why? Because they didn't want the image of a melanated brethren as quarterback. So that brethren had to go play, I don't know how many years in the CFL until the NFL finally accept him as a quarterback. And that's how they do it. It's like they fuck over you, and then, oh, come back, we love you now. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we gotta, again, just have our awareness to a certain place dealing with these situations. Because again, on our spiritual growth, it's not to sit around and be paying attention to this and be fear-mongered by this, you know what I'm saying? In essence, looking at my chakra, but you know what I'm saying, we healing chakras, we learning about our inner universe and learn about ourselves on that level. But the fullness of your being is that you are in a physical matrix where certain injustices are happening, and as somebody that a being of light and unconditional love, you know what I'm saying, indirectly, some of us just feel this vibe to, stand up in these moments and, and do what we feel is the, for lack of a better word, right. There's no right or wrong. That's just what we feel, is righteous, again, for lack of a better word of it. You also got your situation with Martin. And Martin has the most telltale story of mostly everybody, because literally he fucking escaped. Like he escaped their grass and got it on tape, in essence. You know what I'm saying? Well, he running. They got the thing where he on the highway, screaming, "They trying to kill me! They trying to kill me!" You know what I'm saying? Like, and this was, he was doing Bad Boys, Big Mama's House, like thing, he was being a good old boy so far, you know what I'm saying, as far as what they had wanted. And not to say that he was doing things like buying down or no coon stuff in essence, but just along with whatever, they approved of, that's why, business was good for him. But then as they, I guess, asked him or wanted him to take that next notch, that next step, no, he didn't. And that's the next thing you know, he on the highway running outside of his car, screaming, "They trying to kill me." And then again, trying to make it seem like this bird, like something wrong with Martin, like he crazy. And again, that's why us as a community, where we gotta also stop believing the news before we believe our brethren and sistren. You know what I'm saying? Because here it is that I'm making a video speaking out on truth. Young Pharaoh got his video, other people doing their due diligence, and yet everybody gonna still because everybody in the subconscious programming of, I could only believe, a European person on TV talking to me, or somebody from a news perspective, like your eyesight, your subconscious is programmed to only take things from ABC and CNN. So when it comes from, one of your brethren and sisters who, not only may be, in essence, more connected than the news as far as like on a spiritual level, I'm tapped into my higher self. So, this is intuitive things, like to a certain extent, like a lot of these things, I don't have to see the fact. Like I don't have to uh see all the paperwork and things, or I didn't have to be there to know whether something happened or not. You know, one of the unique things for us as quote unquote empaths, or as people who sensitive to energy, we sense when people are lying. And that's not just when people are face to face with us, you know what I'm saying? That's also through the TV screen, the radio, whatever, you know what I'm saying, through the phone. You know, so not even just feeling it like your energy without words, but you know, through the way you communicate, could feel what energy is coming off with that, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, I'm just going off of the vibe that I feel. Also blended in with, you know, other situations that bring this to light, you know, where you could see a trend of people who, you know, stand up in the essence of whether they making people smarter, like, you know, Muhammad Ali, you know, which some people, it depends. Sometimes you worth more money to them alive than dead. Sometimes you worth more money to them dead than alive, you know what I'm saying? And they kept Muhammad Ali alive in essence, you know, but he had this you know, he had Parkinson's. Unlike any other boxer that we know a lot of boxers, you know, but Muhammad Ali happened to be the only one that had Parkinson's, you know, or at least that we know of. Again, coincidence in a universe with no coincidences? I let y'all be the you know what I'm saying? I'm not here to push you into because even with me sharing this, you know, you have the right to still believe that Michael Jackson touched on kids. Like you still have that, you know, that free will to believe whatever you want, you know. Matter of fact, another thing Dick Gregory spoke to, you know, at just how this country and just, you know, in general, you know, the racist European people that's trying to, you know, erase melanated people off the planet and erase, you know, the consciousness, in essence, of the planet. And that's speaking to a human aspect, you know. We know, again, all this thoughts, and that's what controls the situation. But he spoke on how, you know, like what Coca-Cola and what the sign is owned by Coca-Cola, but how they find out that they were putting benzene or something into some type of poison into the water, you know. So basically, it's evident that they were poisoning people, like purposely poisoning people, but yet Coca-Cola company is still open to this day. You know what I'm saying? They let you know. Matter of fact, but let me, or like a Dr. Sebi. Like Dr. Sebi was talking about curing shit. But the government like, oh no, the FDA like, ah, you gotta come and prove this and that to this. You know, why they ain't do all that to Coca-Cola whenever that popped off in Europe with the water situation? That's another thing you'll realize. Other countries be calling out like America is an insane place, you know. Like matter of fact, even simply down to where even though McDonald's, you know, where most of their food is, you know, artificial and made to kill you, up in England, you know, in London, like up in Europe, their McDonald's, like their French fries are made out of more, you know, healthier ingredients, you know what I'm saying, compared to the straight up poison they give you in the McDonald's out here. Why? Because they have a higher awareness in Europe. They know that the governments be trying to kill them through food and stuff like that. They have a higher awareness. They have raised their awareness. Matter of fact, they got that light shine in that area so the government could no longer hide in that shadow. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the whole situation, you know. But again, person poisoning, putting shit in people's water, you know. I mean, you got the Flint, Michigan situation, you know, where here it was at the time, I forgot what was going on, where they trying to put all these other situations on blast. Matter of fact, like trying to get Marshawn Lynch, it was something going on with it, like, cause even with that, like, where these sports figures, you know, like making them answer up at the end of these games as if they the fucking president of the United States, you know what I'm saying? But here it is, where they wasn't holding the mayor of Flint, Michigan, to in front of no, forcing him into no press conference. Like, you the mayor, you're responsible for what's going on for the whole city, but he was able to hide and get away with it, you know what I'm saying? And like you see too, where again, raising the awareness of it, it's cool for non-melanated people to do certain things and get away with it, but then when a melanated person does something, may not even be as half as bad as what the other person did, you know, they get even worse happening to them, you know what I'm saying? Like you know, and Dave Chappelle, again, another one, you know, as his DVD was one of the DVD series of his show was one of the top grossing, you know, DVDs in the world. I don't know if it's still like that, but it definitely was. Last time I checked, it was like 3 years ago when I came across this information. But anyway, you know, seeing his success, you know, everything growing, so you know they had to come knock on the door like, man, I want you to change this up and change this up. You know, Dave Chappelle was like, nah, I'm straight on y'all. You know, went to Africa. And I don't know, just went to, you know, like loosey goosey, like, oh, and that's the thing, the media gonna paint the picture of like, oh, Dave Chappelle is crazy, he left all this money, as if money means every fucking thing. He left all this money, and it's a balance. Money is energy, and it does help situation, but again, like, oh, like, you just leave this money, like, money is like the end all be all, you know, like, that should just take care of everything. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people have souls. You know, some of us, you know, have some light inside of this this little meat body. You know. And again, you know, but you got all these other people, even down to, again, the presidents, you know, you got statues of shit. And to show you how real things is, I was in Cali, you know, in downtown LA. They got a statue of Christopher Columbus, and I don't know, it was around a certain day or something. I don't know if it's Christopher Columbus Day or it was a day where I guess people awareness was being raised. I don't know what it was, but they had the statue blocked off because I guess they were scared of somebody vandalizing it on that day. You know, again, I forgot what was going on. But here it is, you know, protecting the image of somebody who raped and pillaged, somebody who discovered something. They ain't even discover nothing, you know? Like, would you give me a statue if I walked out of my house, took a plane ticket to Africa, started tricking, how can I say, I tricked the indigenous people into following me and following my religion, and then I put a pole in the ground and say I claim this land for universal frequencies. You know what I'm saying? Do I deserve a statue for that? Do I deserve praise for that? You know, Thomas Jefferson. I bet you probably can't even find one white Jefferson. Like, most of the Jeffersons, you know, black. You know why? Because Thomas and Jefferson liked his slaves. And sometimes liking your slaves don't mean that you always had consensual sex. You know, sometimes it was like, you know, bring on in here. To hell with our wife and kids, you know. I like the way she looked. You know what I'm saying? You got that vibe. And we must uphold Thomas and Jefferson and this and that. Well, again, this country asks you to uphold these pillagers and rapists' ideas. But yet, you know, and again, to whether Bill Cosby, you know, from the presentation of the way most people see it, you know, whether he did it or not, you know, but they paint this picture, you know, of him doing this, but and in essence, regardless, so just say hypothetically, even if he did it, I'm not saying he did or didn't, because I know I gotta be politically correct to a certain extent in this area. But you know, all right, it still don't deserve the type of and I say don't deserve, but to the level of the fact that, you know, they praise rapers and pillagers and, you know, unrighteous people in any other realm of reality. You know, what's so shameful about Bill Cosby? You know what I'm saying? And again, just from what they deal with, because as I get this straight, you know, y'all already know what time it is, man. Like, as far as how I feel about uh our essence as beings, let alone the feminine essence, you know, like that is to be protected. Like, of course, rape is nothing, you know, it's a serious situation in essence, you know what I'm saying? Because as much as I speak to the fact of, like, I know that this is a matrix, you know, our human shit doesn't travel outside of our bodies, but because I'm speaking on a human situation, you know, and it has that human sensitivity, you know, uh, I will speak on it in that manner, you know, but again, you got a Thomas Jefferson, a George Washington, you know, the Albert Pikes of the world, you know, you got the praise of the Pocahontas story when old boy was in essence like a, you know, like Pocahontas was very, very young, you know, but he gets, you know, his story retold in Disney movies for kids to watch over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the message that this country and these people really trying to, you know, give off? And also, while I'm speaking on this, the example also of why you shouldn't, in essence, burn your bridges with your past. You know, no matter how ignorant or ghetto your past or, you know, the people from your past may seem. And the reason why I'm speaking on that, because, you know, Bill Cosby did get to a certain place. You know, some of us, we have these ideas of what we think is right for, you know, the situation or whatever, and in that situation, sometimes we are overly outspoken about our view. You know, we are outspoken, and I say outspoken, but we project our view out there as if it's the correct one that everyone should follow. You know, and sometimes, you know, how can I say, you know, we in this human body, you know what I'm saying? So we subject to doing some human shit, you know. So of course, you know, Bill Cosby had that vibe. Well, matter of fact, he was coming against Def Comedy Jam. You know, Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy make jokes about how he was coming at them on cleaning up their jokes and stuff like this. You know, he, you know, he had that vibe of hating himself in essence, because that's what I see. Like, they coach us to hate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of, you know, of being ghetto or ignorant, whatever, you know, your tribe, your peoples, you know, that's your peoples for better or worse. That don't mean you have to hang around them and do the same stuff, even though you grow, like, you know, as you grow away from shooting dice and selling drugs. That don't mean you have to, you know, support that. You know what I'm saying? Or how can I say? It's just a certain way we could grow away from our past without feeling the need to bash it, you know. And we could look at the light of you know, Bill Cosby career and situation as example for that. Like, you know, well, because even for myself, you know, we catch ourselves like the on this vibe in our spiritual growth, where we get to this place of where we, you know, we want to bash, you know, our old self in essence. And it's not about bashing our old selves. You know, we you know, everything inside of you projects outside of you. You know what I'm saying? So our how can I say, I apologize, y'all. I'm something I want to. I'll come back to it, but just getting back into the gist of not burning bridges, because another thing too with that situation, where now here it is, where he's in a situation where he could use, you know, some of his brethren and sisters support, in which on a Christ consciousness vibe, that's why a lot of us are still here for that support. You know what I'm saying? Cause and another thing too, cause even in this light, all right, if he did do it, that's another thing. Well, that would say, that would point out that maybe the brethren might be sick, and instead of going to jail, maybe you need to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? And be real with you, with get to a point at some time. Because another thing too, and it's the reality of a situation that nobody's gonna speak on, but we attract. All I'm gonna say is we attract all our situations to ourselves. You know, no matter what it is. You know, from the quote unquote good to the bad, from getting in the car wreck, from somebody punching us in the face, to somebody raping us, to somebody harming us on any type of level. We attract that through a certain type of fear. And with saying that, I'm not again, because I know I'm talking on human, it's a human subject mixed with the fullness of our spirituality, where again, all is thought, all is mind. At the end of the day, if somebody is in a situation, it's because their mind attracted that situation to them, point blank, period. And these are things that we just gotta start keeping it real about on all levels. Like, how long will we keep this kindergarten human ass understanding from that perspective? Because really it's an understanding, but how long will we keep this ignorant, view on our world, on what's going on in our reality? Now is the vibrate. Now is the time to realize that the news controls, how can I say, the news is controlled by the people oppressing others. So if I'm oppressing people, I'm gonna put out the stories that's gonna keep those people brainwashed, that's gonna keep those people slaves. You know what I'm saying? Like how I talked about the dystopia, like creating a certain type of slave, a certain type of slave to where they don't even are in a certain situation to where they don't even know they're slaves. You know what I'm saying? Where they have just enough of luxuries to think that they are free, when in all actuality they still a slave. You know what I'm saying? Because if a person feel like they can't speak out on a situation, like here it is that you claim we got freedom of speech, you know what I'm saying? But if you fearing to speak out, then do you really have that freedom? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's speaking out on things. And again, back to the burning bridges with the past, where you see that example of maybe Bill Cosby look back at those moments and probably which is no regrets for. I know with mostly everybody, we could all, once you get to a certain place, you realize, man, there's no regrets. I did what I did, for a reason, and it is what it is. But I definitely know and could feel in his heart of hearts, because say for instance, when we bash anybody, we're not connected to our inner source. You know what I'm saying? And I know, we're all capable of that connection. So when he was bashing, of course, he was in a somewhat disconnected place, in essence. But whenever he's in his connection, I'm most certain that that he feels that vibe of like, maybe I shouldn't have been so harsh on, the Def Comedy Jam vibes, and so harsh on, the brethren and sister and cursing in their jokes, and like maybe I should have shared my point of view in a more, open way, instead of like, y'all need to do this, and you should stop cursing, what I'm saying? Matter of fact, again, Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor joked about that, what I'm saying? About, and I got the call from Bill Cosby. It's like, and my son Hennessy watches your jokes. The whole vibe, which I didn't want to go full Eddie Murphy wrong, y'all, just but you know, the whole vibe though of staying, close to the tribe, Yes, for a lot of us, especially a lot of us, melanated people, we come from, these quote unquote hoods or ghettos, you know what I'm saying? But realize like the greatness of what your hood did for you, you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, you got the negative aspects where to a certain extent you could look at it like with the drugs and stuff like that, where it was pushed upon you. Now, of course, is a symbiotic relationship. It got pushed upon you. You had that choice to push it back out, but we didn't. You know what I'm saying? They pushed the drugs on us. We fell victim to the addictions, and we stayed in that realm. But again, it's all right for us to want to grow away from, like, I don't drink 40s like I used to, and rightfully so. But I'm not gonna sit here in front of you and be like, everybody that drank 40s, they stupid and this, you know what I'm saying? And which I done had vibes on this channel where I done call myself probably somewhat like bashing the sheeple, you know what I'm saying? We all done had that conscious vibe, like bashing the sheeple. Bashing the sheeple. Crack myself up to do. But anyway, I went through that stage of, bashing the sheeple, bashing the unawoke people, at one time. But again, realizing that, wait, I was once unawoke. I was once that hood person. I was once that ignorant person. I was once that person that made sugar and syrup sandwiches, you know what I'm saying? I was once that person that cooked eggs and rice, Love that person within you. Don't hate them. Like, because the thing is, of course, I'm manifesting abundance and moving away from that aspect of myself. But I still, love that aspect of myself and forgive it for any, any quote unquote wrongdoings or any, negativity. Because that's the whole thing too on the spiritual healing, no regret, like love yourself, you know what I'm saying? In this human body, we fall victim to doing some human stuff, It is what it is. What it is, the confessions, but the laws of Mayat, though, where it's like it's not really commandments as much as it's like, I am not the killer, I am not the raper, I am not I am not that ego, like that's this bodysuit, this persona. I am not that. I am a light being that's in a bodysuit. You know what I'm saying? It's to know it from that level, to know like all these things that I go through. It's like don't feel guilty about, like you're in a human body, you're on a human experience, you're gonna do some human bodysuit type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Some of us, make videos at the spur of the moment. You know what I'm saying? It may rub some people the wrong way. It may rub some people the right way. Like, it is what it is. which to get into and matter of fact, and now too, seeing that balance, because I caught that vibe too, being in LA. But like, man, you don't want to throw away your connection with your family and true, with your back home roots. You don't want to really throw that in the trash can just to be around all these these racist white people who don't give a fuck about you either, smiling all in your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to put things in a balanced perspective, anybody could harm you. You know what I'm saying? You could be harmed by somebody that that looks like you just as much as you could be harmed by somebody that doesn't look like you. But in the settlements of dealing with this, here it is with the same people who who paid Bill Cosby, who he like, I'm getting this money. Y'all should be like me and get out of the hood and stop drinking Kool-Aid. And you know what I'm saying? Like, again, he got into his little place and was kind of bashing his old self, in his growth. But the same people, paid him and made him famous. It's just the same ones who hanging him right now. Same ones that's, because matter of fact, and speaking of that, which I won't go deep into it again, matter of fact, a reminder again, if you ain't catch already, go check out the Young Pharaoh video speaking on this information. And because it also got into the aspect where the judge and the DA, so the DA went back to reach out to that lady after they'd been proven, and showed that her case, whatever she was trying to bring up wasn't strong or evident enough. They had this DA that was like, fuck it, we gonna get him. Came out of blue and like, we gonna persecute him. But then the judge, this guy like started running for office, and his slogan in essence was like, I'm gonna get Bill Cosby. That is unconstitutional to run for office on the basis of I'm trying to put somebody in jail. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm trying to so let that sink in, in the aspect. And again, go check out Young Pharaoh video, because it goes in to that information more in depth. But again, here it is, same people that paid him, that gave him the Fat Albert money and the Cliff Huxtable money. It's the people who bashing that image and hanging them. Matter of fact, too, this is another thing with being a soul and being true to who you are as a soul. If you are being who you truly are as a soul, you could never be killed. As a soul, we are infinite. And what I'm getting to, like with the the media and all this, they can't kill what they don't make. Let that sink in. They cannot kill what they don't make. So if Hollywood or the media or if sports, all that shit, if that didn't make you who you are, you know what I'm saying, then that also cannot kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, matter of fact, as above, so below. Just like how our moms say, I brought you into this world, I could take you out. Hollywood has that same perspective in the essence is, I brought your character into this world, and I could take your little character out of this world. Like whether literally, figuratively, however, you know what I'm saying? That's another reason why in a lot of cases, the Hollywood people, the oppressor could be so hands-on, so to speak, with somebody transitioning, because when you look at a Dick Gregory who wasn't, deeply into all this stuff, he lived to be, like just as old, like Ben, like matter of fact, he's speaking more raw than Martin Luther King ever did, you know what I'm saying? And was allowed to live. Why? because he, for one, he know he is God, and God dwells in his body, and he knew to be fearless and courageous. You know what I'm saying? He knew not to fear none of that. Matter of fact, with one of his quotes, I forgot how he said it. It was like you know, source, if you let one of these scumbags touch me, then I'm meant to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's having that certain strength and courageousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where that came from, to the point of him not transit. You know what I'm saying? And it's a balanced situation with this, because again, it depends on how strong your influence is as well. You know what I'm saying, too. I keep it real, because I think about Dr. Sebi may be the only person that you could put an asterisk by, where it's like, you know, he wasn't really in their game or none of that, but they kind of found some way to deal with that situation. And again, and what's real, again, being courageous and fearless, because I bet you some people would be like, you know, like, damn, how are you talking about these people? These people transition for speaking the truth, and then stand right behind them in that essence and speak the truth, you know, just like them in that essence. But again, it's knowing what I am, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the image. My image is not made by these people, you know what I'm saying? So they can't kill my image, you know. They can't kill what they didn't make. And you can, and plus you can't kill what doesn't die. You know what I'm saying? My soul doesn't die. My soul lives on forever and ever and ever. Forever, ever. But again, you know, so when you fall into their little program and stuff like this, and you know, they could kill, you know, to a certain extent with sports, you know. Now, of course, they couldn't take Allen Iverson completely out of the game. You know, of course not. Because, again, matter of fact, being in touch with your roots, and like Dave Chappelle say, and I did a video about that, you know, Mac Mittens, you know, your homeboy. Matter of fact, Dave Chappelle talk about how he got his homeboy Mac Mittens from the hood that he take with him and go to all this little corporate meetings, you know what I'm saying, in white America. He like, I got my hood brethren, you know, with me to hold things down. But you know, with you know, with AI, you know, what they could bash what they had in essence, how can I say, hands in making, you know. They didn't make Allen Iverson the soul, the being, you know, like, but they made Allen Iverson the basketball player for the 76ers, to the extent of, you know, because, you know, that's their basketball league. It allowed for him to be, you know, a 76, like on one of their basketball teams, and be a basketball player or be a star in the NBA. So the only, you know, so they couldn't really take out, you know, Allen Iverson fully, because, you know, because he wasn't fully under them in that essence, you know what I'm saying, like, just as a basketball player, you know what I'm saying, like, so they bash whatever part of him as a basketball player they could, you know what I'm saying, like, again, and you just see the correlation. That's why too, when I used to speak to, like, with Allen Iverson, you know, dealing with sports and stuff like that, I used to always be like, you know, like, man, my brethren dealing with stuff outside of what's on the court as well, you know what I'm saying? Like, he not kissing ass, and the media trying to kill him night in and night out, and he's still going out there and perform on a high level at the height he was at, you know? So, having to overextend his body more than most average basketball players, because when you're taller, you know, you don't have to you don't have to be as athletic, you know what I'm saying, to be a high flyer, you know, and this and that. Which I don't want to get into basketball, but you know, it goes into the gist of what I'm talking about. But you see how the people who comply with, you know, what image they want, you know, they get a good bar sticker, you know, pat on the back. You know, for those that don't, you know, it is what it is. You know, matter of fact, speaking of protection, I think I guess the some I just caught a little insight that maybe the Nation of Islam connection for Muhammad Ali may have helped him, you know, a little more, helped to whatever extent, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, rest in power, Cassius Clay, aka Muhammad Ali. But you know, again, back into the sentiments of the importance of the tribal vibes, you know, the family vibes, and not throwing that out the window. You know, of course, you know, on our spiritual growth, we growing in a certain manner. Of course, family members and certain old friends may do things that you don't do anymore, but does that mean to just, oh, I'm just gonna completely not fuck with them anymore? But here it is where you'll go and be friends with somebody just because they smiling in your face and talking about namaste and, you know, and peace, my brethren and sisters. So it's cool to be around them, you know what I'm saying? And not saying like you but just say, for instance, like where you looking for that relationship, and I find myself in that place, like you're looking for that relationship, so it's like you more open to that. But I mean, just because like pretty teeth, you know what I'm saying, all that you know, they still bite. You know, so with that being said too, at the end of the day is about of course the vibe of feeling with your heart, you know, feeling the vibration. But again, it's very important for that, you know, that brotherhood, sisterhood, you know. Cause matter of fact, cause in the sentiments of what Muhammad Ali spoke on that Instagram post I made a while back, you know, was basically speaking to, I guess, somebody that came at him, like it was basically like, I guess maybe he wasn't messing with some white people he didn't get along with. I don't know what the case, but basically the example was, you know, he was just talking about America and the situation of how he's like, imagine if all the white people in America were rattlesnakes, you know, and of course, you know, where we obviously see that a majority of these rattlesnakes are trying to kill me, you know, but there are like so say for instance like 10,000 rattlesnakes, and 100 of them or 1,000 of them, 1,000, 100 to that 10,000, you know, let's just say 100 of them. 100 of them are trying to save me. 100 of those snakes wish me the best, want to give me a hug and kiss, you know, really love me, all this, you know what I'm saying? But if I'm in a situation where these snakes, you know, about to rush, you know, I'm right by the door. I got the chance to close the door and stop these snakes from coming in my house. You know, I'm not gonna let these snakes in my house or not close the door off of the sentiments of that. Well, maybe these 100 nice snakes, you know, out of the 10,000, you know, out of this high number of snakes, out of the 10,000 snakes, I trust that the 100 snakes are gonna save me. In a universe where you shouldn't trust that nothing outside of you is gonna save you at the end of the day, anyway. Like, not whether white, black, or nothing. Like, nobody saving you but you anyway. But in that analogy again, you know, you got all these rattlesnakes coming. Yeah, of course you got 100 of them that's nice and want to protect me, but I'm not going to depend on that small amount of snakes to protect me from 10,000, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to just close the door and just, you know, and keep all the snakes out, in essence. Not that, do I hate the good snakes that's out there that I close the door on to? No. Like, no, I don't hate those snakes. But I'll be damned if I let, again, because rattlesnakes bites are poison. One bite and you're gone. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not taking that chance. Closing the door. You know? So it's this vibe as well of just, you see the importance of just staying connected with your, with your roots. You know, again, like I see my trip coming back home to make me aware of that. Like, hey, yeah, you want your, you're gonna be a multi-millionaire. Yeah, your business is growing and gonna, it's gonna be this big thing, whatever. But you still want to have your connection with your folk back home. You don't want to just become this person that just, so like this eye on the prize, like type of vibe, where you just neglect those, just that pure, authentic love. And again, even if it's, quote unquote, ignorant or ghetto, this and that, and again, this doesn't mean to hang with people or deal with people just cause they look like you or just cause they from where you from. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, a lot of us, we be having these connections, with our communities that we grew up in, you know what I'm saying? And then as we grow, kind of get this vibe of like, oh, just to hell with all, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause there's a balance. Some people, of course, just, and cause that's where I'm at with it. It's like, whenever I'm not dealing with, people from back home, our neighborhood, whatever, it's because I'm focused in on what I'm doing. Not necessarily like, all right, I gotta dislike, like I hate them, or I just completely can't stand nobody from back home. No, it's not none of that. It's just like, shit, I love my soul and I love to do what I love so much, that I'm going to make sure that my vibration is a certain way. I'm going to make sure that I'm focused in on what I'm doing, and that may take, how can I say, not always being in the place that you used to be in, or whatever the case may be. But just let this be example, though, with the whole situation, y'all, to be here for each other, you know what I'm saying? Because, man, the wickedness of that media is something else, And as I'm doing this video, of course, this is about, raising awareness in the hopes too, or not say hopes, but like in essence, for Bill Cosby in his situation right now, and this is speaking to the point of, him being bashed again. Whether like the rape situation or not, I'm not, because I even go as far as this, when you become a part of some whether it's politics or what they call the boule or the upper echelon of the melanated people, it may have been a situation like how they do with the Skull and Bones situation, where like they they make you go through these acts of sex with people, or they have you do these little things in essence, so it could be something there for all of them to hold some, so in case something pop off, we could be like, well, you remember when you sucked old boy dick at the party? Don't forget that, you know what I'm saying? You remember when Dick Cheney grabbed you on your ass at the mass ball? You remember at Bohemian Grove when Ronald Reagan suck your wee wee or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that really happened. But I'm saying though, that's the whole situation and how they operate is like they do all these little, have these little sex parties and orgies and all these things behind the scenes. Of course it has to do with them just being them in essence, but it's also, again, it's it's like a little system. It's like a blackmailing system. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you choose to go out of line, like here we got these pictures of the party. You remember this party when you was doing all, you know, I own CNN and MSNBC. We'll put this out if you decide to talk too much about our little night we had. That's how that shit work. Go watch Eyes Wide. I got the book here. Eyes Wide Shut. The whole little initiation situation. This is how they, get down. I know. Again, much love and respect to the sensitivity of the essence of, the feminine aspect, of with the allegations, you know what I'm saying? But again, I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. I just be saying that part to be like diplomatic to ignorant people. But man, in my heart of hearts, I definitely know that Bill Cosby didn't maliciously rape anybody. That's just what I feel in my heart, you know what I'm saying? Because even down to the point of where, and that's how real, because that's how real of a person I am, where like, say if somebody was blackmailing me, I would still keep it real about, to keep my word authentic, like I'm word is bond all the way through. So say for instance, even down to the fact where him admitting that, like say for instance, because most people in that situation like wouldn't even, like they gonna lie and deny about every, you know what I'm saying? But he admitted to actually like, was it like taking drugs with the people or whatever? Like he admitted to that, part of it. But reason why he didn't admit to the rape part, because I guess from his point of view or whatever the way it balled out, it's like it wasn't a rape situation. Like it was a consensual situation. More so like if I get together with a female, like, hey, let's get on this substance together, you know what I'm saying, and vibe out. It's a fact that I did have that substance and did ask, the woman that I'm with to take that substance. Was it in the light of raping her or trying to, but keeping it real about that aspect. And again, this is just something where my spirit, the ancestors, matter of fact, the ancestors, like, just found it relevant and just wanted me to speak up on this situation. Because again, it's too much ignorance in that area. Like, because even down where, like, I'm even watching like with my mom and, and seeing people and how they watch the news, because again, with me being in LA, I'm not around, a household and people watching news. So I'm around it now and just seeing, to a certain extent in which my mama being open-minded a little more because I'm around, you know what I'm saying? But like just seeing how everything that's being said on the TV just get taken at face value. Like people from the news is like telling 100% truth. Like that's something I don't like. I don't get scared about anything, but that's definitely something that's a little alarming, to an extent. Where it's like that's why, matter of fact, to the point of like why I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like making these videos to raise the awareness, shine that light. Because again, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look, man? And again, this is just a situation. And two, they create situations that make it sticky to stand up for that person. Because look at it like, well, say for Michael Jackson. It's like, to the way they painted that picture, he touched on little kids. So if you was to like talk good on Michael Jackson, this and that, like, then the ignorant folk who don't, get into the deepness of this, gonna look at you as just the person who's praising a molester or somebody who touched little boys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, and two, we're raising this awareness because also, first and foremost, because it would be selfish for me to do this just solely for myself, but doing this video is also a byproduct of me doing this video is also for myself, because with speaking up on information like what I'm speaking on, you know what I'm saying, with the way the media run things, like all it takes is for me to do something. I don't know, like, what could I do, like, but one simple thing though, just say for instance that I could do or say that could be taken out of context, and the media could paint this picture about me and have everybody like universal, like universal frequencies had such and such rape victims or this and that, like, because in essence that's, if you just gonna go with the flow of everything the media, you know what I'm saying, then when will it ever stop? Like, you gonna listen for it now, and you gonna listen for when it's somebody, somebody else. So that's the thing, is to bring this to an end, and to spread awareness. So before, matter of fact, much love to the women, on all levels, to all the females out there. But be aware at how you're being preyed on too, like, where your feminine energy is used only to harm people. Like, if you ever notice, the only time that the government or people values what a woman says is whenever she's saying something that's gonna put somebody else in jail. Like, whenever it's anything dealing with y'all rights or something in any other area, it's like but whenever it comes to bashing your fellow brethren or whatever the case is, they'll listen to you, won't listen to you in any other case. And then you gotta be aware and see the dysfunction in that, you know what I'm saying? Like, take your every word in that situation, but everything else in life is like, to hell with the woman. So be aware how the government and stuff playing this little chess game on your energy. Like, it's playing a little chess game on that, stand up for your right, like that feminine energy rising up, and rape is something that, well, in essence, as a woman, if as a soul, if you don't stop as a soul, because you are a soul before you are a person in a bodysuit. If you don't stop as a soul and say, well, let me assess this situation, before I just throw Bill Cosby off the, wonder how much truth, you know what I'm saying? But instead, for some of you though, you are identifying with this situation as a woman, like, but soul as a woman, like, you're not even tapping into the God stuff. It's like, just as a human woman, it's like, I ain't even trying to hear no evidence of this. They said he did it, and it's like, you gotta be careful with that, you know what I'm saying? Because again, they're creating situations for us to be, again, against each other in essence, you know what I'm saying? So just definitely want to be aware of that, because again, who's to say they can't do that to one of your favorite, of course they not. And I won't even create the ifs, but I mean, just in the reality of the situation, because all dimensions do exist, it's like it's multiple possibilities that exist within this realm, you know what I'm saying? This is the fact that realm won't exist, but but there are realms where like that type of framework could be put on you know, the likes of somebody like me, or, you know, or Infinite Waters, you know what I'm saying? Like anybody, you know what I'm saying? Like they could paint this picture on anybody, as long as people are ignorant enough to just go with the flow of what they tell everybody, you know what I'm saying? Go check out Young Pharaoh video on the Bill Cosby situation again. You know, like to really, you know, hear what evidence he brings to the table in that area, you know. But again, you know, just raising the awareness. And matter of fact, and the funny thing about it, matter of fact, I don't know if it's red pill or blue pill. Matter of fact, kudos to the pills, to the brethren. But where he brought up how, you know, and then as a comedian, how a comedian could bring up these situations and get a laugh, but as us, you know, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I normally vibe as a, you know, like I'm indirectly like a comedian to a certain extent, so I'm always gonna have like that comedic essence in my videos, you know what I'm saying? But he was speaking on how, like, you know, how like as a conscious speaker or somebody, like, you know, with YouTube videos, whatever, like, but how if we speak on this in a certain light, like everything is taken like so serious, and oh, you said that, or you said that, you know. But then a comedian get on stage and like Donald Trump touching pussies all over the world, you know what I'm saying? I had, well, you know, a comedian could get on stage and, you know, and say something of the same light, and it still, you know what I'm saying, and it takes on a different connotation, but which I'm not really take in the sentiments of what blue or red was talking about, but in the essence of just seeing though, like I support that. Like me personally, I say that comedy is that way of, you know, exposing the nastiness of our existence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, something like, you know, because when you think about most comedians, they telling stories about shit that if somebody told it in a regular format, you would probably be crying or sad or something, you know what I'm saying? But like a comedian could tell a story about, you know, they little kinfolk get molested as a kid by Uncle so and so, and it could be, you know, something that could be laughed at, compared to where if I just tell you it straight up, you know, people like, man, that's for sure, you know what I'm saying? And two, you see just the way information is delivered too, you know, kind of play upon the way you're able to perceive it and look at it, you know. You know, so kudos to comedy, because comedy allows for us to, you know, look at these certain aspects and you know, and just see the you know, the human in ourselves in essence, you know. Because again, we are in these little human bodysuits, so we gonna do some human type of shit, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Yeah, comedy definitely has a way of you know, making certain situations where, and it could take any, like where say for instance, comedians also get away with saying stuff like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X, or more so like a Malcolm X. Like, you know, that comedian vibe also allows for you to say things that, let's just say, that really means something for liberation for people, you know what I'm saying? But because you're a comedian and you're saying it like a joke format, you know, you're able to say it without them targeting you in that manner, you know. Cause comedy too, with telling comedy in essence is just being just straightforward, you know what I'm saying? In essence, you know, and it just with a bit of laughter, or I gotta say, just joking nature attached to it to a certain extent, but it's really just, you know, keeping it real. You know, Matter of fact, speaking of comedy, again, Bill Cosby. But again, the brethren was getting ready to buy NBC. It's like, all right, you ain't learned your lesson from when we killed Ennis, like from when we killed your son. All right, bam, gonna do it like this. And it is what it is. But again, we gotta raise the awareness of this, of these situations. Cause me personally, cause I know I'm coming straight from the heart. Like I know, in essence, like where I'm at with how I feel about, the divine feminine or the feminine energy. In essence, like that's something that should not be disrespected or played with in any way, form, or fashion. But there comes again a point where like we dealing with the wholeness of our being. So we raising up the feminine energy, you know what I'm saying, so it could balance out with the masculine, but it's not to the extent where we just blindly, dealing with the feminine energy, well, like as if like on some right or wrong situation. There's no right or wrong in this universe, so it's not like, oh, well, the woman energy is right all the time, like, now since the feminine energy is raising up, the woman energy always gotta be right. Like, nah, because then we're gonna create the same battle again. It's like, instead of swinging the pendulum from side to side, we need to balance it in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it like, oh, way on the feminine side, and that's gonna cause men to be like, well, fuck. So we hear it too. And it's like, but it's gonna pull it in a way that's gonna, again, make it come back. And now, like where we at now, or where we have been, like with the masculine side, like, well, fuck it, we gonna over masculinize it. Like, nah, the middle, the Ida and Pangala meeting up. The masculine and feminine, Jacqueline and Boaz, or the red and blue pillar. But that's basically the gist of it. Stop throwing stop throwing the people in the community under the bus at the drop of the dime of what the media, the same slave masters, who took that money, gave it to their sons, and sons, and how can I say, those slave masters who went into becoming NFL owners and went into, owning news companies and, and still being the politicians, like, what I'm saying, like that's those same, racist people. So, I always use the analogy, like, about, like, how the news will never really wake you up or tell you what's going on. Like, so say, for instance, the analogy of, like, you got a slave plantation, and you got some other, you got these other slave plantations, and on these other slave plantations, they got a revolt going on where the slaves then basically, revolted, killed their slave masters, then took over the plantation, and now they free. Now you got this happening on a bunch of other plantations. Now me as a master on my plantation, somehow I catch wind of that, and I find out that, these other slave masters getting killed, that, the slaves are uprising and waking up, you know what I'm saying? So, from a slave master point of view, will I walk outside and tell my slaves, well, hey, y'all, these slaves at these other places, they killing their slave masters and they fighting for their freedom, Like, matter of fact, I felt stupid. Like, I would feel stupid. Yeah, like, again, as a slave master, for what your job is, you're trying to keep people as slaves, you know. So you're not gonna tell them something that's gonna spiritually liberate. You know, you're not gonna tell them something that's gonna give them a little fight. You know what I'm saying? To stand up for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna tell them something that's gonna keep them where they at. So after finding out that news on the other plantations, I'm about to crack my whip and reinforce the slave ship on my plantation. Like, man, let me whip these motherfuckers, make sure they don't try no funny shit like these other plantations. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and that's the way the media works. The media is like, you know, the airwaves for the slave masters in essence. And if I'm oppressing, I'm, you know, people working for me and doing all these things unknowingly, I'm not about to make them aware of how to stop being a worker for me. Like, when the fuck they do that? Like, look at yourself. Look at it whenever you were being unrighteous and you were trying to get somebody to do some shit for you. You know? It wasn't because you told the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was because you probably, you know, you lied or, you know, whatever the case may be. You know? In which you got that karma pretty sure came back around to you. Or which it comes back around to you. That's just not the government doing what they doing. But, you know, again, somebody who's trying to keep you oppressed and trying to keep you in a slave mind frame is not going to create a situation that gives you hope. They not. You know? Like, the reason why Martin Luther King was given to you, because he gave you a false hope. And he was trying to make you see this fault, like, you know, we should turn the other cheek and love thy enemy. You know, that's what they wanted to be promoted. So it's like, all right, yeah, we let this nigga talk. You know, same thing with you know, in the essence of what's his name, Nat Turner. It's like, you know, here, boy, come read this Bible to these other boys and girls or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we'll let you stand in front of, you know, the other slaves and talk, if in some way, form, or fashion you saying shit that keeps them in that place. Because although he was talking about God and, you know, and in essence, you know, like spiritual being, and which the Bible don't really get that deep into the true essence of it. But anyway, you know, even though that's what he was dealing with, it was from a perspective of indoctrinating, because it was talking about the Bible verses that supported slavery. You know what I'm saying? So, and whenever Nat Turner would go to talking of Bible verses that bad slavery, that basically in essence talked about, you know, how ungodly it is to have slaves and stuff like that. You know, the slave masters like, oh no, boy, don't read that page. Go to the page where they talked about, you know, the slaves being nice to their master and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the whole vibe of it. You know, and again, that's why I'm still talking, because this is a real stuff. Like, you know, like, man, it's time for that ignorance, you know what I'm saying, to come to an end. And like, you know, the media will never ever, unless we owning it, you know what I'm saying, the media will never ever spiritually liberate you and try to give you the truth. They give you some truths and some facts, all right, just to show you how the media do. Because they did this with Bill Cosby as well, but this, you know, now a lot of people not into sports, but for those who not, you could go look up this situation. You could look at the documentary that goes in depth. Allen Iverson has a documentary on Netflix, or you could just go look it up on YouTube about his practice statement. But y'all remember, you know, what they kept playing on TV, practice. We talking about practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's most of the soundbite what you really get. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get the full interview, you get practice. So basically what they was trying to do is paint this picture of, matter of fact, as they always did, like he was some hooligan, and and he didn't care about the team, he didn't care about practice. Well, what they didn't tell you is that, for one, that interview was a sound bite, not the full interview. They also didn't tell you that they as a media, they knew that Allen Iverson, his one of his partners, brethren, one of his brethren had just transitioned, and he was dealing with that. They knew that though. They knew that, and still felt the need to ask his brethren why he mixed practice. And mind you, to add to the context, this is a brethren who's short, 6 foot. So he's a person who, uh, in a league full of big people, he's short, so he has to put in more work, to be great. And Allen Iverson is one of the best scorers to ever play the game, if not the best, when you think of the context of his size and dealing with the media and everything else he was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But you have the aspect of that. He was a cold, he was great at what he did, dropping over 50 points a game, doing all this, and plus showing that his work ethic, like he was Mr. Virginia. He was part he could have went and played in the NFL if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like to show you, like, because another thing, to make it seem like he didn't have no work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get it wrong. As melanated people, we are very talented without having to practice, but it still takes some kind of practice. As a matter of fact, he learned his crossover from somebody. So in that light, it does take some kind of practice. But again, they paint this picture as if he just don't want to go to practice, as if he's just some lazy nigga, just straight up like that, like as if he's some type of lazy nigga that I don't want to practice. Fuck practice. You talking about practice? Like, that's the image that they were painting it to give off, and that it has in most people's eyes. But then if you watch the documentary and see that it was a whole different story, that the media knew his partner passed away, and still asked that question. So he was like, "But really, like, y'all gonna ask this question knowing all what y'all know about my situation, knowing how I go out there and drop the points I drop regardless, you gonna trip on me off of missing one practice? Like, is this really happening right now?" You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like, kudos to Allen Iverson and Marshawn Lynch for being true to the soul in these press conferences, man. Real. But again, you just see that the way it's a situation to tear down the image. And as long as they could keep people brainwashed, then that's how much these people could go down in these situations for something, that may not even happen in essence. Again, you got these Catholic priests, proving why the news ain't. They got a movie that proved that a bunch of Catholic priests in Boston got fined for touching on these bars. Do they put it on blast like that? They just like how they tried to, slick side, like let Joe Paterno, the coach of Penn State, like, how can I say, try to get away with being the accessory to the fact with that situation. It's like, man, nah, Again, you got Thomas Jefferson with statues and shit, known to love his slaves for a euphemistic statement in essence. But again, you got all these people with these vibes, and more evidence coming out. You got Terry Crews speaking on how his genitals got grabbed on at a party. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's coming to the light, man. Like, and again, sometimes, these subjects have to be talked about, you know what I'm saying? Because I realize the strategy in that, like, that the fake spirituality where they try to, you know, create this picture of like, you should just be nice and positive all the time. So when situations come up like this, that you have the ability to make people aware of in a manner without making it negative, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so you won't even touch on the subject. So if I was in that old vibe of like, or that vibe where I thought like, everything I'd be nice and I just should never ever speak on these subjects or talk on these subjects, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was in that vibe, I wouldn't be raising awareness to this situation, and people would still be allowed to get, their whole lives thrown away, all because of uh the media and some government, like, all right, we don't fuck with you no more, so we throwing you under the bus. It's like, man, we gotta, old Lisa Lopez, Left Eye, going to Honduras, headed to see Dr. Sebit, and all of a sudden, she have her situation. Oh, all right. But it's gotta raise the awareness, y'all. As a matter of fact, if y'all feel like I touched on some some important points, or made some key realizations or whatever, what I'm saying, please share this video, because it's time for this, to stop. Again, it's me speaking from the heart, not yay or nay on trying to make anybody look good or making anybody look bad. It's just about facts. Like, it's just about, bringing up the reality of the situation, and how, we've been allowing Hollywood and the government and these oppressors to eat up our people, you know what I'm saying, in essence. It shit gotta stop. Like, reality of the situation. But I digress. Again, go check out the young Pharaoh video, and what information he brings to the table in that situation. And again, raising the awareness, man. Because if we just sit to the side and let this happen all the time, it's just gonna continuously happen. Again, where they could, do this to some of your, favorite YouTubers or whatever, and again, I know this is not gonna happen to us, because we got the sauce, we protect it. A lot of us, can't speak for all, but for the most part, it's a full relationship, and it takes y'all awareness, what I'm saying, as well. Because this is a very sensitive subject to touch on. Matter of fact, again, that's how much it was in my heart to share, because I'm like, man, my inner source, like, on some shit, like, even fuck it if you may rub some people the wrong way, in essence, because I don't mean, because that's the thing too, I don't mean to, because like, by speaking on this situation, of course, like, any women who just on the vibe of like, he guilty, he did it, this and that, they gonna see this video, which if they watch and listen to all this video, they not. Because when I speak to that part of like, you gotta remove yourself from being just a woman or being just a man, like, be a soul, and observe this situation. Be a soul and observe how they've been doing melanated people in America throughout your life, and then assess, Bill Cosby situation, you know what I'm saying? But again, yeah, to a woman that blindly, just going along with what, or just anybody, but from a woman perspective, you know, they could see this video. Oh, he's making excuse for Bill Cosby. He's trying to, you know what I'm saying? In which again, that's how real it was as far as me feeling the essence to speak up on this situation, because it was like, I don't, fuck it if they do have that backlash, because what this is speaking to is way more important than somebody panties being in the bunch about about a certain situation, and I don't mean that panties are draws, to not make it seem like I was coming at just the women, but for somebody to be uptight about this situation, it's like, look, God is greater than your little egoic mind and your upsetness about your identity of your ego. Sorry, not sorry. Just way more important things like raising the energy back up to a level of Atlantis and Lemuria. Like, that's way more important. And we still allowing ourselves to be duped by these news stories and this whole situation. It's like, I have a little more awareness, because again, my situation, this video wasn't speaking to whether he did or didn't or none of that, which again, I gave a little bit of evidence and spoke on Young Pharaoh video to go check out. But that, I'm mostly just speaking to the fact of how I spoke about like burning bridges with our family back home, like with Bill Cosby in that situation, like where he may have burned the bridges with the black community to a certain extent a little too much. Speaking on that, like, but just like where basically like the trade in for your community and where you come from for Hollywood and the people that make you famous. Like, you don't want to just trade that completely out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to still be dealing with, now of course not the hindering people back home. We talking about people though that's not hindering you, that that still have that loving connection. You want to still deal with the people who really truly love you, and connect with, say for instance, if you're in the entertainment or whatever, you still could be in that realm, but just to the point of not just neglecting, where you come from in essence, too. Because a tree is not just the leaves, it's also the roots as well. And the roots is also, in essence, what keeps a tree standing. Not the branches on the top, not the new part of the tree. It's the older part of the tree, what I'm saying, is what's really keeping it, standing in essence. But not the new little birdies that come along and sit in its branches. It's the roots of the tree. But it's just and raising awareness in this area. Because again, there's just too much of that. Oh, well, the news said this, so that's what happened. It's like, oh, nah. So, and in my head, it's like, so if the news just get up and say universal frequencies, sticks markers up his ass and picks boogers out his nose and eat them every day, like, y'all gonna believe that shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, damn, like, alright, we gotta do a little better in that area. And again, just to play that quote unquote devil's advocate, or to just be in the gist of, no matter what happened, if somebody did get touched or whatever the case may be, of course, you have my blessings of positive vibes, and may you get over that situation, if that's what really happened, what I'm saying, may those people get some type of how can I say, emotional relief, and just get some type of relief in some way, form, or fashion. They could be able to, get to a place to grow away from this situation. But again, that's if this happened. You know what I'm saying? I have a very, very strong feeling that I just gave that apology for nothing. That's just me again. I only resonate and speak with the voice, the same voice. I tell people, the same voice that told me that going to confession was some bullshit when my mom and them was telling me go to church and all this. You know what I'm saying? Like that same voice that always told me God was with God is within me and God is, I am God. Like that voice right there is the same voice that was speaking to me to do this video. So just put that out there, y'all should get like by 900 videos now. Y'all should get the gist of my vibe to a certain extent. But I digress. Peace. Happy now. Now's the vibrate. We're not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, remember, with all this, fuss and all that, with the focus. Matter of fact, little altar. We focus. We focusing on the, on the inner universe, getting the inner universe together. That's the whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, again, we're not just a spirit, in this physical realm. Like, we are in a human body. We are going through human things, you do have a human construct of how we socially interact, you know what I'm saying? So you do have human aspects to your existence. So we gonna do things like possibly pick our head up at the news, whatever, but realize it's time to, to stop dealing less and less with the media. Like right now, it's just a shit show of them just throwing all kind of people under the bus, and it's inner universe. Again, but certain subjects like this is also just awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, not to, like, because after I do this video, I'm about to read some other books and do some. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to sit here and be focused on this other situation all day. It is what it is, but I definitely had to speak to the situation. Peace. Again, have it now. Now's the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.